How to generate cash flow in real estate. And that's a really good question because there are a number of ways that you can do this. And when you do, you can not only make a significant difference for your overall portfolio, you can make a difference in your overall lifestyle. So if you're looking for ways to generate cash flow in real estate, you're going to walk away from this video with 6 very viable and profitable ways of doing it. You ready? Let's go. So I'm going to go over first why real estate is such an ideal investment. And then I'm going to cover 6 different ways to maximize this specific profit center of real estate, the cash flow profit center. If you decide at the end that you want some more help, stick around and I'll show you exactly how to get it so you can set yourself up for financial freedom and ultimately retire early. The popularity of real estate investing has increased exponentially in the last 5 to 10 years. People from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all experiences have been attracted to real estate because of the cash flow that it produces and the lifestyle changes that it can make. So cash flow, positive cash flow specifically, nobody wants negative cash flow. We're looking for positive cash flow. What that is, it's the income or the profit that's left over. After receiving income from the property and deducting those expenses, what's left over between those two numbers, that's your cash flow, that's your profit. And that's a result of the buy and hold process. And it's really what it sounds like. You buy the property and you hold on to it. You find somebody else to live in it and they pay you for the right to live in it. That is where the income comes from. That is what produces the cash flow. Now, before I give you those 6 types of cash flow that you can produce from real estate, I want to go over and cover why real estate is such an ideal investment. And ideal is an acronym. And each letter stands for something specific, a specific benefit of real estate. So the I stands for income. And what's great about real estate is it produces multiple types of income. It can produce active income that comes from flipping properties, where you buy low, you sell high, and you get to keep the difference, that type of income, and you can get really rich with that type of income. A lot of people have. And it produces what we call passive income or residual income. And this is the type of income that is produced by, like I just mentioned earlier, someone living in the property and paying for the right to actually live there, paying the landlord. So those are 2 types of income. And that income is what actually produces financial freedom, and overall it produces wealth. So you have your active income to get rich, you have your passive income to get wealthy. The D stands for deductions. With real estate, you've got some tax advantages. You've got depreciation and you've got deductions. And real estate is really kind of the final tax shelter available to the average person. And most people kind of discredit this or don't understand it or don't value it much. And that's really a shame because most Americans, with the purchase of just a few investment properties, can virtually eliminate their tax liability. And that is legally, honestly, ethically, morally, and even with Uncle Sam's blessing. That's one of the aspects of real estate that really goes unchecked, unnoticed, because it's not really a profit center. It's not money coming into you each and every month. But it is, once a year, that money that you get to keep in your pocket. It's money that's not leaving you. Next, we have equity. And that's pretty simple. Most people know what that is. Equity is the difference between what a property is worth and how much you owe on the property. That difference is the equity. So if I own a $100,000 property and I have a $75,000 mortgage on it, there's a $25,000 gap there. That is my equity. And equity is a result of you buying low or waiting over time. For our next one, appreciation. Appreciation just happens. Real estate will be worth more in 10 years than it is right now. It's worth more now than it was 10 years ago. And I really don't see that stopping anytime soon. It's really a result of supply and demand and good old-fashioned economics and inflation. Now, what gives real estate its superpower is this L, leverage. The ability to use other people's money to acquire your assets, to acquire your real estate. Leverage is available to the average person inside of real estate, unlike it is in any other investment. And this is really important because, you can get rich, and many people have, using their own money, but you get wealthy using other people's money. And what leverage does is it will typically increase all of these profit centers by 3 to 5 times. And this is what makes real estate an ideal investment. Now, I'm going to go ahead and break down the different options that you have for generating cash flow, this income up here. But before I do, if your wheels are already starting to turn, let me know by clicking the subscribe button. because I post cool videos like this each and every week, and you don't want to miss it. And I don't want you to miss it because I want you to maximize real estate as much as you can. I want you to get the financial freedom that it promises. I want you to get all the wealth creation properties that it promises. So click the subscribe button. All right, so the 6 best real estate investments for producing cash flow. The first one is single family homes. And that's pretty simple. Everyone can kind of understand that. Everyone kind of gets their start there. This is where you purchase the property, you hold on to it, a tenant moves in, and they pay you for the right to live there, and you get that income. And what's really great about single family homes, and really all of the examples that I'm going to give you, is that you are starting to buy this ideal investment, and you are taking ownership of it, but it's not really you buying it. It's your tenant buying it for you. So I look at this as long as you can come up with a down payment, your tenant is going to pay the rest. So single family homes, really great way to start. Not to mention, great place to continue real estate investing. If you've been doing this for a while, there is no reason not to invest in single family homes. I would say for the next 10 years, based on the supply and demand in this country, we've got more people than we got houses and we're not building fast enough. This is going to be a really sound investment for the foreseeable future. So number 2 would be multifamily properties. And those are exactly what they sound like. Multiple families live in the building, like apartment buildings specifically is what I'm talking about. But you could look at this from a point of duplexes and threeplexes and fourplexes as well. These are multifamily properties, and these are great cash flow providers. And most of the time they're going to produce a greater cash flow than your single family home. But there's some pros and cons. You know, with the single family home, you get the benefit of appreciation as the market continues to rise. But then you also have some liability if that property should go vacant, it's not producing anything. The multifamily properties don't necessarily rise with sales comparables in the market like single family homes do. There's a lot of other things that you can do for a multifamily property to increase its value, but it's not going to appreciate in the same way the single family does. Further, if you've got multiple doors in that house or in that building, and one of them happens to go vacant, you're okay because you still got the other properties paying your rent too. So you kind of limit a little bit of your risk or liability there when it comes to your cash flow. Now number 3 would be townhouses. Townhouses are a subset of single family homes, and they are excellent for producing cash flow. Townhouses are row houses, are multiple houses attached to each other, and typically they share a common wall, but each one is owned individually. Each one is an actual residence. And renting out row houses or these townhouses means you are giving your tenants a little bit more space. They might come with a yard and a little bit more privacy as opposed to an apartment building type style living. So traditionally, you're going to get more cash flow from a townhouse than you would from a unit in a multifamily property. The other nice thing is townhouses are typically cheaper than the single family house. So it's easier on you in the acquisition, but you don't necessarily lose out on anything when it comes to the cash flow. But here's the kicker. Very often they are accompanied by HOA, Homeowner Association dues. So when you're looking at townhouses, make sure that you're taking the HOA, if there is one, but if likely there's going to be, make sure that you are deducting that in your cash flow calculation, because that's a real expense and it happens every single month. Number 4, condominiums, or condos for short. These are multiple buildings with separate units owned by the investor. Similar to townhouses, these are units that may also share a common wall. And there are many reasons as to why condos are among the best performing assets in real estate when it comes to cash flow. As the population continues to grow and the demand for housing increases, you're probably going to see more and more condominiums being built as we're running out of land. We have a fixed supply, but we need more houses to house the growing population. And you're likely to see more and more of these over the coming years. So you want to become familiar and get comfortable with these and learn how to get them to produce. Because as of right now, they're already great options for cash flow, and that's likely only to get better. Now, number 5, short-term rentals. Now, short-term rentals can be in any of the previous categories that I just shared. It could be in single family, it could be in multifamily, it could be in townhouses, it could be in condominiums. But what makes short-term rentals so unique is they are just that. They are short-term rented properties, meaning your tenants might be staying in there for just one night or maybe a few days. And what that allows you to do is charge more. You can typically charge more per night than you could a collective 30 days in a row. And this cash flow investment is probably the fastest growing one in popularity because it is so lucrative. Rule of thumb, you could probably get 3 times the income from a short-term rental than you could if you rented that property out to a long-term tenant. And if you're not familiar with the term short-term rentals, this term you probably are familiar with. That's Airbnb or VRBO. These are the mega websites that market these properties for landlords to help them attract these short-term tenants that are willing to pay this premium. And so you'll see that there is a significant difference between a short-term rental property and a longer-term traditional rental property. There is a trade-off though. They're typically going to come with higher expenses and more labor on your part. But for most people, that difference in income is totally worth it. And number 6 are turnkey properties. Now, depending on what market you're buying in and what type of properties you're buying, you might not want to do all that heavy lifting. You might not want to go out and look for just the right opportunity and crunch the numbers. And you might not want to go and do repairs and rehab. You probably don't want to go out and look for tenants and finding the right tenant, having to screen the tenant, making sure you're getting just the right one. You might not want to arrange for property management. You might not want to deal with any of that. You might want to have all of that done for you. Totally understandable, by the way. And this is ideal for busy professionals. People that are either too busy to do the work or they just flat out don't want to do the work, but they understand the value of real estate inside of their investment portfolio, so they want to have a piece of real estate. Well, you can have all of that done for you. And that's exactly what Mercedes does at Cash Flow Savvy. And if this is resonating with you and sounds like a really viable solution or a good way to go about it for your cash flowing needs, then you're going to want to go and download her free investor packet. It'll have all the details, all the information of how this works. And you can get that for free at cashflowsavvy.com. Now, after you download that, you'll have the opportunity to pick a time to hop on the phone with her and have a conversation and brainstorm some ideas about what this might actually look like. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You can say, no thanks, I understand now, but this is not going to be for me. Or you're like, okay, this makes total sense. So glad I crossed your path. Let's go for it and let's go. And then she'll go ahead and she'll take care of the rest. She's going to go find that property. She's going to go fix it up. She's going to put the tenant in there. She's going to arrange the property management. She'll even arrange the financing if you need it. And she's going to hand you over this property already cash producing on a silver platter. That's at cashflowsavvy.com. That's where that begins. Go to cashflowsavvy.com. You can take that domain name, type it up into the browser, or I'll go ahead and I'll just put the link down below in the description for your convenience. Alrighty, so that's what makes real estate an ideal investment. Those are 6 ways to generate cash flow for yourself through real estate. And I hope you really enjoyed this. I know I did, because I know what real estate has done for me, and I know it can do it for you too. That's it for today. I'll see you next time. Take care.